Hi friends, this is Imran Aziz. Welcome to CivTech Simplified. We are presenting part 2 of our ongoing video series on structural analysis. And in this part, we will also present 25 multiple choice questions for your next exam. Hopefully, these questions would help civil engineers like you to prepare for the competitive exams, any sort of job interviews, as well as university tests. And remember, the correct answers would be highlighted so that you could review them effectively at later stages. So let's get started with today's part. We are still continuing the fundamentals of statically determinate structures, and these questions would start from 26 to 50. So question number 26 for today is, for a beam, if fundamental equations of statics are not sufficient to determine all the reactive forces at the supports, the structure is said to be. For a beam, if fundamental equations of statistics are not of statics are not sufficient to determine all the reactive forces at the support, the structure is said to be option A determinate, option B statically determinate, option C statically indeterminate, option D none of the above. So option C is the correct option, which is statically indeterminate, as the reactive forces at the supports are not sufficient to determine in the fundamental equations. So option C is the correct answer for this question. Then we have question number 27. A truss containing J joints and M number of members will it be a simple truss if option A M is equal to 2J minus 3, option B J is equal to 2M minus 3, option C M is equal to 3J minus 2, and D J is equal to 3M minus 2. A truss containing J joints and M members will be a simple truss if M is equal to 2J minus 3. 2J minus 3. So A is the correct option for this question. Question 28. At a thrust diagram indicates option A transverse force, option B axial force, option C shear force, option D none of the above. A thrust diagram indicates axial forces. So B is the correct option for this question. Question 29. The self weight of beam will be taken as the self weight of the beam will be taken as option A point load, option B uniformly distributed load, option C uniformly varying load, option D none of the above. So the self weight of the beam will be taken as UDL, uniformly distributed load. So B is the correct option for this question. Question 30. A diagram which shows the variations of axial load for all sections of the span of a beam is called option A stress diagram, option B thrust diagram, option C shear force diagram, option B bending moment diagram. So a diagram which shows the variation of axial load for all sections of the span of a beam is called thrust diagram. B is the correct option for this question. Question 31. The number of equilibrium conditions required for analysis of a concurrent force system shall be. The number of equilibrium conditions required for analysis of a concurrent force system shall be option A 1, option B 2, option C 3, option D 6. So B 2 is the correct answer for this question. Question 32. The number of members M and number of joints J in a plane perfect truss is given by option A, m is equal to 3j minus 3, B, j is equal to 2m minus 3, C, m is equal to 2j minus 3, D, j is equal to 3m minus 2. So C is the correct option. M is equal to 2j minus 3. The number of members and number of joints in a plane perfect truss is given by M is equal to 2j minus 3. Question 33. A pin jointed frame with number of joints j and number of members n will be a perfect frame if option A, n is equal to 2j plus 3, B, n is greater than 2j minus 3, C, n is less than 2j minus 3, D, n is equal to 2j minus 3. A pin jointed frame with number of joints j and number of members n will be a perfect frame if n is equal to 2j minus 3. D is the correct option for this question. Question 34. The degree of static indeterminacy of a rigid portal frame having one internal hinge is. The degree of static indeterminacy of rigid portal frame having one internal hinge is option A 8, option B 7, option D 2, option C 2, option D 5. So B 7 is the correct option. Question 35. Drawing torsional moment diagram is similar to. Torsional movement diagram is similar to option A. Drawing shear force diagram carrying point loads. Drawing bending moment diagram carrying point loads. Drawing shear force diagram carrying UDL. Drawing bending moment diagram carrying UDL. So A is the correct option. Drawing torsional moment diagram is similar to drawing shear force diagram carrying a point load. Question 36. Total reaction in 3D space at a given end spot are. Total reactions at 3D space at a fixed end spot are option A 3, option B 4, option C 0, option D 6. So 6 is the correct answer. Option D is correct. Total reaction in 3D space at a fixed end spot are 6. (37) Pick up the incorrect statement from the following. In case of suspension bridge due to rise in temperature, option A, dip of the cable increases, length of the cable increases, C, dip of the cable decreases, none of the above. So pick up we have to select the incorrect statement out of the following. In case of suspension bridge due to rise in temperature, dip of the cable decreases. So C is the correct option for this question. Question 38. To avoid bending moment at base of a pier, option A, suspension and anchor cables are kept at the same level. Suspension and anchor cables are fixed to pier top. C, option suspension cable and anchor cables are attached to a saddle mounted on roller on top of the pier. Option D, none of the above. So B is the correct option. To avoid bending moment at the base of the pier, suspension and anchor cables are fixed to the pier top. 39. The shape of a suspended cable under its own weight is option A, parabolic, option C, circular, option C, centenary, option D, quaternary. So C is the correct option, quaternary. Question number 40. A three-hinged arch is said to be option A statically determinate structure, option B statically indeterminate structure, C a bent beam, D none of the above. So a three-hinge arc is said to be statically determinate structure. A is the correct option. 41. If a three-hinged parabolic arc carries a UDL uniform distributed load or on its entire span, every section of this arc resists option A compressive forces, option B tensile forces, option C shear forces, option D bending moment. So the every section of the arc resists compressive forces. A is the correct option for this question. Question 42. In a three-hinged arch, the shear force is usually option A maximum at crown, maximum at springings, option C maximum at quarter points, option D varies with slope. So in a three-hinged arc, the shear force is usually maximum at springings. B is the correct option. 43. An arc may be subjected to option A shear and axial force, option B bending moment and shear force, option C bending moment and axial force, option D thrust, shear force and bending moment. So D is the correct option. An arc may be subjected to thrust, shear force and bending moment. 44. An arc with three hinges is a structure. Option A statically determinate, option B statically indeterminate, option C geometrically unsuitable, option D structurally sound but indeterminate. An arc with three hinges is a structure. Option A statically determinate. Question 45. In a three-hinged arc, the third hinge is generally kept at option A crown of the arc, option B midpoint of the crown and left support hinge, option C midpoint of crown and right support hinge, option D none of the above. In a three-hinged arc, the third hinge is generally kept at option A crown of the arc. A is the correct option. 46. In a three-hinged arc, the bending moment will be zero. Option A at right hinge only, option B at left hinge only, option C at both right and left hinges, option D at all the three hinges. So in a three-hinged arch, the bending moment will be zero at all the three hinges. D is the correct option. 47. In a solid arc, shear force acts option A vertically upwards, option B along the axis of the arc, option C perpendicular to the axis of arc, option D tangentially to the arc. So in a solid arc, shear force acts perpendicular to the axis of the arc. C is the correct option for this question. 48. The rise of a parabolic arc at quarter point is equal to. The rise of parabolic arc at a quarter points is equal to option A 1/3 times of rise of the crown, option B 1/4 times the rise of the crown, 1/2 times the rise of the crown, 3/4 times the rise of the crown. The rise of parabolic arc at quarters point is equal to 3/4 time the rise of the crown. So D is the correct option for this question. Question 49. The effect of arcing a beam is. The effect of arcing the beam is option A to reduce the bending moment throughout, option B to increase the bending moment throughout, option C nothing on the bending moment side, option D all of the above. So the effect of the arcing a beam is to reduce the bending moment throughout. A is the correct option for this question. Question 50 and the last question for today's part. A three-hinged arc is generally hinged at its supports and option A at 1/4 span, option B at the crown, option C anywhere in the rib, option D none of these. So a three-hinged arc is generally hinged at its supports and anywhere in the rib. So C is the correct option for this question, anywhere in the rib. Thank you for watching this video. You have completed structural analysis and its part 2 was discussed today. And these questions as well as videos would help professional engineer, fresh engineers, and engineers who are preparing themselves for any sort of the job interviews or tests at Public Service Commission, whether it is state level exam, SSC, JE, RRB in India, or a Public Service Commission exam like Punjab Public Service Commission exam, Federal Public Service Commission exam, Sindh Public Service Commission exam, and KP Public Service Commission exams in Pakistan. Please subscribe to our channel CivTech Simplified for upcoming videos and follow us on Facebook, TikTok, as well as Instagram. Please share your suggestions in the email given in the description. It is civtechsimplified@gmail.com. So thank you very much and see you in the next video.